It's 1999, and Capcom are planning their fourth installment in the incredibly successful survival horror series Resident Evil. Creator of RE Shinji Mikami puts his friend Hideki Kamiya in the director's chair for this next installment, and they got to work in creating this fourth entry. They chose a new cool protagonist, one with inhuman abilities. They went for a gothic medieval setting, travelling to England and Spain for research to create an authentic feeling environment for the game. And they came up with a more stylised combat system that branched off quite far from the action portions of Resident Evil 3. When Shinji Mikami came to look at how this next installment was getting on, he was surprised to see a whole new game entirely. With this game feeling so far from what the original vision for Resident Evil was, Shinji Mikami and Capcom decided on making this game now its own thing entirely. Taking up the new title, Devil May Cry. It finally released on the PlayStation 2 in 2001, and later received a HD re-release on numerous consoles such as the PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Switch and Windows PC. For this video I played Devil May Cry on the HD collection via PS5 backwards compatibility. Loosely based on the Italian poem Divine Comedy, which follows the author Dante Alighieri as he travels through the stages of hell, purgatory and heaven, Devil May Cry puts you in the shoes of a similarly named protagonist, but one much more modern and stylised. Hideki Kamiya really wanted a standout, cool protagonist. He stated that he wanted to create a fun character that you'd want to go out drinking with. Not a boastful, but also not too laid back or detached as to not crack a good joke or two. Dressed in a stylish, bold red trench coat with appealing long silver hair, Dante was an instant hit with fans and today is one of the most beloved protagonists in video game culture. Dante runs a demon hunting business in town called Devil May Cry, and one night he's visited by a mysterious woman who goes by the name Trish, and awkwardly looks just like Dante's mother. See, Dante is half demon himself. His father was the legendary Dark Knight Sparda, and his mother was a human. His mother and brother, Virgil, were known to have been killed by the Emperor of the Underworld, Mundus, but when Trish comes knocking, she offers Dante a chance at revenge. Dante travels with her to Malay Island, the setting for the game, a small island in the middle of the ocean, and atop it stands a giant medieval castle, with even a sewer system and a coliseum. Devil May Cry is dripping with this gothic, intense atmosphere from its weathered brick architecture, its grand inner halls, and its horrifying enemy design, covering all manner of hideous husks, malevolent mannequins, flying skulls, and abominable arachnids. Here on Malay Island, Mundus has been steadily growing his power and influence so that he can soon ascend to Earth and take over the world. As Dante, you travel throughout the castle and the outside grounds, completing a few puzzles and battling Mundus's demonic followers. The puzzles are fairly simple for today. They consist of trying to find an item that you can use to progress in another section of the castle. The game does allow you to explore the castle at your own leisure, with you able to find secret battles upon exploration. However, the actual design of the castle is pseudo-linear, and the game itself is split into 23 missions, almost like chapters in a novel. Completing a mission rewards you with a score on how well you performed, giving you red orbs with which you can purchase upgrades for Dante's moveset and consumables to assist you in combat. Devil May Cry is really heavy on the combat, and is primarily a third-person hack-and-slash game. Devil May Cry was so revolutionary for its time for featuring fast-paced, flashy swordplay that also could be interwoven with gunplay as well, offering a great mix of both forms of combat. You can start a combo with your sword attack and finish the enemy off with a blast of your double-barreled shotgun or your dual ebony and ivory pistols. Pressing the L1 button had you enter a temporary devil trigger form where Dante adopts a more demonic look. He can fly around the screen, fire projectile blasts, deal increased damage, and move at a faster speed. The Devil Trigger used your blue energy gauge that sat beneath your health bar, and once depleted, he would return to his normal form before you filled it up again. Whilst in combat, you're given a performance grade for how long you can continue your combo without being hit or without repeating the same moves. This grading system really pushes you in wanting to always have a diverse combat style instead of sticking to one or two moves. And I couldn't go on without mentioning the amazing soundtrack to this game. In fact, I'll just let you listen to bits of it, because me describing it just isn't going to give it enough credit. The sound effects were chunky, the animations were solid, and the speed of combat really made it all work so well. Comparing Devil May Cry to the action games that came before it, which were kind of slow and clunky and sometimes tank-like movement because of the limitations of the time, Devil May Cry and Dante specifically feel so much more smoother and athletic in comparison. Dante comes with a plethora of moves, from uppercuts, stabs, and even new weapons to find and unlock, such as a pair of fiery gauntlets, a huge transforming blade, a laser weapon, and even a grenade launcher. To test your skills with your arsenal of weapons, Mundus has employed 4 deadly demonic henchmen whom you'll encounter a few times throughout the game. There's Phantom, a large lava rock arachnid that can summon firestorms and shoot fire projectiles. Dante manages to impale him.
You're right. I'm his son, Dante. Sweet dreams.
There's Griffin, this huge demonic bird that looks like it's made up of multiple bird heads. He is squished in the Colosseum. There's Nightmare, this gooey bioweapon. And lastly there's Nilo Angelo, a devilish dark knight that puts up a few great duels, before revealing to be Dante's once thought deceased brother Virgil, but now brainwashed and twisted to Mundus's dark side. When all the 4 demon lords are defeated, it's on to unlocking the gates of hell using the Philosopher's Stone and battling Mundus once and for all. It's here in hell that Dante discovers Trish was a spy for Mundus all along, but due to her failure to capture Dante, Mundus threatens to kill her. Dante tries to rescue Trish due to her resemblance to his mother, but she's still hit by Mundus's attack, and it's here where the voice acting really hits its peak.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
With Dante all raged up, he's ready to battle Mundus. Mundus has a couple of stages. First he's fought in his ultimate form as you fly through this void of hell, dodging his projectiles and firing some of your own back at him, whilst in your Devil Trigger form. The second stage sees you battle Mundus atop a platform surrounded by lava, using the spheres to refill your Devil Trigger gauge so you can dish out lots of damage. You lastly battle Mundus in the sewer section back in the castle as it's crumbling to pieces. Trish, now back alive, rushes to Dante's aid, gifts him some of her energy, to which he uses it to fire at the injured Mundus, sending him back to hell, with him vowing that he will return. Trish apologises to Dante and begins to cry, but Dante explains to her that devils never cry, meaning she's becoming human. As Malay Island is about to collapse, a plane falls down into the sewer next to Dante, and Trish and they use it to escape the island and head back to civilization. Mundus is defeated, and Malay Island would sink to the bottom of the ocean. Back home, Trish joins Dante's business, now renamed to Devil Never Cry, and they set out for more demon ass kicking adventures. Devil May Cry is a certified classic, and while it does have some features that don't quite hold up as well, such as the underwater segments, that just really slow the pace of the game down, the platforming segments that were not designed well for this game, and the fact that you have to go into the pause menu every time you want to switch out your weapons, which does get old pretty quickly. I still for sure had a great time revisiting this game, and I thoroughly enjoy the atmosphere, the electric action gameplay, the acrobatic animations, and the iconic protagonist and well-likeable character of Dante. And for that, I give Devil May Cry a very high score of an A for awesome on my rating system. Devil May Cry was a hit for Capcom, selling over 3 million copies, and would go on to influence a whole new subgenre of these flashy action 3D hack and slash games that would inspire the creations of God of War, Bayonetta, and many, many more in the following years. But what was next for Devil May Cry? Well, join us next time on Don Critic and get a tissue ready, as you may very well cry when you see what the series had in store next. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, take care.
Let's rock, baby.